We're going to take you right now to the next session, which is called Supply and Demand, Building Sustainable Food Economy. And on the stage right now is Walter Robb.
I have, before then, three things to share with you. One, a little bit about our business philosophy and the role and responsibility I think companies can play in creating a better economy. Number two is the power of food in creating a future. And number three, I forgot, but it'll come to me. So anyways, let me start with this, which was, I have to tell you, one of the greatest days of my life as a grocer. Thank you for that. This was June 5th, 2013, when we opened a store in Midtown. And this was a project the Wall Street Journal said was a business plan gone off the rails, and nobody said could be done. And to Dean Kamen's point earlier, it's just not true. When people say stuff can't be done, they're wrong. It can, but you just have to believe. And this thing, just for a moment, the cynicism and the criticism and all those things parted on this particular day was this wonderful feeling of hope and the community coming together. So it didn't start that way for us. Hippie Grocers, 1980, Austin, Texas, by the way. This was our first store, and you can see it's a period piece now, some 36 years later. And this is our flagship today. It doesn't look like this in Austin right now because some of you have seen the weather report. It is raining down there. We had 9 inches over the weekend in Austin. So it's, but in any ways, we've grown as a company now to 420 stores, 44 states, 3 countries, 90,000 team members, and 16 billion run rate in sales this year. So kind of a remarkable journey for the company that we never really expected would happen. In Michigan too, right? So been in Michigan since 1993. Bought Merchant Navino, some of you know the Jonah family, 2007. And we have 6 stores in Michigan now. I have some question marks there because we've announced one in East Lansing, Senator Stabenow's hometown, which is opening in 2017. And we have a couple others in the works. Maybe my friend Mark Murray out at Myers, maybe we have to go visit him. I don't know. We'll see. And definitely, I've already committed to doing one more in the city of Detroit because I think it'll be a great investment. So. We have close to 1,300 team members in Michigan, 1,300 jobs in Michigan right now, and obviously hope to grow that from this point forward. I wanted to just take you a little deeper about our philosophy of business. And again, many people are talking about the evolution of capitalism in some form or another here in the conference. Bill Gates talks about creative capitalism, Richard Branson, enlightened capitalism. We call it conscious capitalism. It's based on 4 basic fundamental principles. The idea that business exists for something more than making money. It exists to create a purpose in the world. And what is that purpose? It varies by company. There's no reason individuals have purposes. There's no reason companies can't have purposes as well and lead from that place. Number 2 is the sort of idea of stakeholder philosophy, more on that in a moment. Third is conscious leadership, the idea that what you're trying to do here at the conference is a company can only evolve as much as its leaders evolve. If the leaders don't evolve, the company's stuck. You got to change and grow and adapt. And fourth is the culture, which for me is the values and mission of a company. It's the petri dish of a company where the people are and where the humanity actually lives in a company. And you've got to invest in that as you grow the company. Those are kind of our philosophies. And we started with the simple idea of bringing a healthier food to the world. This is from our 1981 handbook, which was a stapled together affair. And you can see even then that what we would do is bring these whole foods with a small w towards contributing towards greater health in the nation. And again, there's tremendous disparity in food access in this country. There's over 6,500 areas that don't have access to fresh, healthy food like most of you enjoy in your lives. 6,500. And in the city of Detroit, for example, the health outcomes, the life expectancy in Detroit is some 10 years less than in Oakland County. That's public health statistics. That is a moral dilemma. That is a moral challenge. That is a moral problem that business needs to do something about. That's why we try to make our small effort to make a contribution towards this big problem that exists throughout the country. In any case, that's our purpose as a company. We do believe that a business is built around the success of all of its stakeholders, not just the shareholder. If you read the Wall Street Journal today, you saw again the comments from Larry Fink talking about how so many investors are so short-term focused. The average equity hold in the US now is something like 6 months. How in the world can you build a company with a 6-month time frame? You cannot. And this sort of idea that you're going to think more broadly about the stakeholders that have a stake in the success of your business, and you make decisions by thinking and balancing and thinking about how to put these different stakeholders together. And for us, one of the most important core values for our company is team member happiness and excellence. And this idea that ultimately the people are what create the greatness in a company. The people are what create the innovation in a company. And we try to create a culture of empowerment, a place where our team members can vote on our benefit package every 3 years, a place where almost 35% of our team members have an equity interest in Whole Foods Market, either through an option or a share. I think that's #1 in corporate America. A place where they are participating in labor gain sharing every 4 weeks, and where we're trying to celebrate the spirit of the human being in the business. And one of the ways in which we do that, by the way, I love this bottom right one, because one of our store team leaders in New York City, where, by the way, the stores have team members from 160 countries, put up a dream wall where team members could put their dreams, and once a month we're trying to fulfill one of those dreams for the team members. But we do, and we end every meeting at Whole Foods with appreciations. And you don't have to say anything, but this sort of gratitude for one another in a community, I think it speaks to the cohesion theme that you have here at the conference this week. And by the way, I don't know what you guys are doing out there in the lobby there, but it looks like cohesing. There's a lot of people, right? There are a lot of people out there, or a mashup of some sort. Anyways, so on to the journey in Detroit, how we tried to put this into practice. I've already told you why I wanted to do it and why I personally wanted to lead the company in this direction. Because I, after 30 some odd years as a grocer, was fundamentally challenged by how some communities could have fresh, healthy food and others not. And as I looked around, through circumstances, found my way to Detroit on a rainy day. Olga Stella, other folks from DEGC helped us around. We started to look at the city, and we started by conversation with the community. And we started at Eastern Market, was kind enough to lend us a room, and we started talking with people. Do you know who we are? Do you even want us? And we sent bus tours of people who came from Detroit and went out to Oakland County to look and give us feedback on the store design. And before we did all this, before we actually decided to come, I'm speeding through this, but this was our ground opening ceremony. And I was just surprised to see how many people showed up for this. Normally it's a kind of a small thing, but this turned out to be kind of a revival, actually. And what was funny was that we forgot there was no rain we had the Native American leader from Michigan speak, who spoke about the sacredness of breaking ground and what that actually meant. But then when Senator Stab and I put the shovel in the ground, there was no water, so the shovel didn't actually go in the ground. So it was a little bit embarrassing. But in any case, there we are on opening day. That's Larry Austin, our superior store team leader, who's just done a magnificent job. I think if you ever get to the store, you have a chance to meet him, you'll see what leadership looks like and feels like. You can feel his leadership in that store. And interesting, for the Facebook page of this particular store in Detroit, it's not actually about the food or these sorts of things. It's about what gets the most likes is when somebody posts a promotion. It's a story of human beings and human spirit, human progression, human growth, talent. And it's just been a phenomenal thing for our company as a whole to be able to learn about that. It continues to this day. On June 5th, we'll be open for 2 years. And I will say, we're so far exceeding our expectations with respect to sales. I don't even know what to say about it. But this idea of putting the community first is really at the heart of the store's efforts. You can see on the bottom left, I'm there with Erica Woolard, who's one of our originals. I'm proud to say we hired 90 people to start, and we still have 75% of them are still at the store. And so that spirit of community first. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, we did make a couple of commitments to the community when we came, which is to, in addition to the $12 million investment, was to hire 70% local and also to 50% of the spend with local contractors in Detroit. We've met and exceeded both of those goals. So this today is what it looks like, and I think you'll agree that along with our friends at Eastern Market, we are bringing fresh, healthy food choices to this part of town, which has continued to grow, and I'm very proud of that. And I would say in addition to that, I've had three learnings from our journey in Detroit. Number one is that there is, in fact, a tremendous disparity between fresh food access in this country, something to think more about. If you go to the USDA ERS website, you can see it mapped out. You can actually zoom in and you can have a sense of where those spots are all through the country. And it's not just urban areas, it's also rural areas as well. With the attendant health outcomes that come from that as a consequence from that. Number two is I've learned that when a company and a community are willing to set aside their differences, like the governor spoke about this morning, and are willing to reimagine what a relationship can look like between a community and a company. We started out with the community activists and groups having the idea that Whole Foods had nothing to do with the community and wasn't really going to contribute, and it had some history in that. And as a company, we started out saying, well, how do we find our way into a community where people don't necessarily even know who we are? But it turns out that through dialogue, through sitting at the kitchen table, to use the governor's metaphor, and by really engaging and trying to listen, and by starting from us as a company, starting from a place of really respecting the community and listening to where they were and what they were doing, these are no food deserts. These are places where lots is going on. And your job as a company is to come in and be part of that and participate. And this led to us completely overhauling our core value as a company, serving and supporting our local and global communities as a result of this experience of reimagining what's possible between a company and a community when the dialogue happens. I'm quite sure this can be replicated anywhere else, in Michigan or anywhere else, when you reimagine what's possible in that relationship. And finally, it's just this importance of cultural relevance, that there are many races and ethnicities in this world, and surely the future looks like it's more inclusive, and it's got to be done. Things have got to be done in a way that are culturally relevant to all groups. So we wouldn't be anywhere without our suppliers, and we did this. We are opening a store in East Lansing. It's gotten pushed a couple times, but I think it's on track now for mid-2017. In any case, we had a supplier summit where we set up at Michigan State, and we had over 200 potential suppliers come to this. We're now working with 150 of them to help them with their products. And by the way, Mark Murray at Meijer has been great too. I asked him if he would be willing to help put some of these products in the Meijer stores too, as some of these young producers come on, and he said that he was. And so, but just as the type of interest and enthusiasm that's out there for this sector right now is if I could just communicate to you how much energy is on this area. People are rediscovering their joy and their interest in their food and where it comes from. Even today, you saw announcements from Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, and every day in the paper, there's some other indication that people are waking up to the quality of food. In all my years as a grocer, I've never seen the sort of conversation about the quality of food as it is right now. This has real potential economically, as well as from the potential of humanity. And so that's the numbers there. And then I want you to meet a few of them. This is a young entrepreneur that started her company as a result of this summit. Here's a little clip from her.
Hi, my name is Bisri Darvik, and I'm the founder and owner of Lush Gourmet Foods in Portage, Michigan. And I'm the proud maker of Lush Nuts. So this is actually based off of a family recipe that my mom and her dad made, and I ended up going to pastry school just because I had a curiosity for food and came up with, I guess now, 12 different flavors of the product. And my end goal has always been to be found at Whole Foods, and this past fall I had the opportunity of going to the East Lansing Supplier Summit, basically meeting the buyers directly. Shout out to Bobby and Julie for helping me along with the process, and now you can find my products across the Michigan stores. So thank you.
So there's one of the young entrepreneurs that's starting out. You know, in some cases, if there's not a job, you can make one. You can start a business. You can be an entrepreneur and create a company. This is happening in food left and right. Good example for you there. Next one, one other thing I was going to tell you, we love Eastern Market. It's a jewel. It's unique in the United States, really. And we were able to work with them to help produce a community kitchen, which you see in the bottom right, which just opened. We just had the event about a month ago. And that is a kitchen that's now available to entrepreneurs to be able to come and use the facility to create food products. And so it's fully, you can see it's pretty well dressed out. And Dan Carmody's here from the Eastern Market. You all know Dan, right? Hey, Dan, raise your arm right there. Dan has done a magnificent job, bringing that Eastern Market along. But again, this facility now is a place, because when we came to Detroit, we were very interested to find you had so much urban agriculture, probably some of the best in the country, but there was very few companies that were actually made in Detroit. The product was actually made in Detroit. McClure's Pickles started out, so the opportunity is create a place where folks can create food companies, create products, and this is such a place, and it's part of their Kitchen Connect program that serves the city of Detroit. And so here's a couple more. This is one of our new suppliers. She's actually using, this is Cynthia Davis. She's actually using, when I called her just a little bit ago, she's actually in the kitchen right now. She's creating a chocolate cake slices, which she's going to go into the Midtown store in the next couple of days, she told me. So that's an example of what's happening right now in the city of Detroit. And this from around the state, this is the Brinery. up in outside of Ann Arbor. David actually started out as an organic veggie farmer west of Ann Arbor, I guess in Chelsea, Michigan, got into fermented foods, and has now created this wonderful line of products which we sell. And even if you don't believe in the health benefits of fermented foods, you can have a good sauerkraut or a bratwurst, right? And that's what he's doing. So this is a very interesting story. He's up, as he told me, in the thumb of Michigan, in Cairo, Michigan, and this is Gary Fritz, and he has 2,300 acres, and last year he raised 1.5 million pounds of organic beans. So he's selling all over the country to manufacturers. He's selling to Canada. I don't know if you even knew that this is happening, but he's also raising all these types of beans and spelt and quinoa. Of course, we're buying it in bulk, and we're also buying it he's come out with a whole new package line that you can see right there. This is the type of thing that's happening, not just the agriculture, but also the value added, the products that come from that. And finally, this is SP Jones and her mama from Sweet Potato Sensations. And she's just a great person with a great story. I've just been fun to meet her all along the way. We've been doing this thing in Detroit. So I had her record a little video for you. So here's SP.
Hey Mackinac, hey Walter. My name is SP Thomas, and I'm the queen of awesomeness and second-generation business owner with my sister Jennifer of Sweet Potato Sensations. We're a soulful bakery cafe located on the west side of Detroit. We call ourselves Pumpkin's cousin with an attitude, the soulful bakery cafe, the sweet potato lovers heaven on earth, and we make everything, and I mean everything, out of fresh sweet potatoes. Here we go. Pies, cookies, cheesecake cake, ice cream cobbler, candy yams, baked sweet potatoes, muffins, cupcakes, chicken and sweet potato waffles, sweet potato pancakes, sweet potato grits, black-eyed pea and collard green soup with sweet potato cornbread, and the list goes on and on and on. These are my mother's recipes, and it's a beautiful thing. We've also had the opportunity to be in Whole Foods Midtown since the opening, and it's really given us an extra boost in our revenues, and it's also given us that extra Whole Food stamp, which does not hurt, definitely. So I just want to say, hey to everybody, have fun at the conference, and see you next time. Peace.
All right. Yeah. SP rehearsed that on the phone with me yesterday. It was like pretty good. You really had a roll on that. So, by the way, another thing about SP is I am, along with some other people, asked Goldman Sachs to think about bringing their 10,000 Small Businesses program to Detroit. And SP was one of the first graduates of that program, which was held up at Wayne State, the graduation. It was, if you want to talk about talent and the development of talent and supporting people and their opportunity to grow in their life, you should be at that graduation or be at the next one. The stories will warm your heart. So, in any case, kind of bringing it to a close, we're buying from over 150 suppliers in Michigan now, and we have over 1,200 SKUs in the stores of Michigan-only product or product made in Michigan. And it's interesting that the products that are made for Michigan are growing year over year over 30%. Just looked at the numbers of last week. And that's just in the Michigan stores. That's not the Michigan producers that are selling to Illinois or the other places. It's just within Michigan itself. Is a 30% growth rate. If you look at the study that came out last year, the consultant study in Detroit, it says the food economy in Detroit is about $3.6 billion, right? And if you grow that 30%, you're at another $3 billion in economic growth for the city through the use of food. So I say, it kind of bringing it to a close, that again, this thought about celebrating your talent. As a company, we try to do that through our core values, through our cultural practices, try really empowering team members. If you take empowerment plus collaboration, you get innovation. If you create some room for people, they will take it and they will grow and they will innovate. And if you can find a way as a company to support them, that's what we try to do in our company. The second thing, if you realize how fast this food thing is really happening. I have, all my years of being a grocer, I have never seen the rate of change that I'm seeing in the food industry right now. As people move towards greater awareness of the quality of food and the story of food, the stories of food, it's fantastic. It's a tremendous opportunity to diversify, to invest in, to create more economic growth for the state of Michigan. It's already happening. It can happen faster with facilities like at Eastern Market or the Community Kitchen or other such ideas can provide the places for people to create these companies. And finally, just on behalf of all of our company, we have learned so much and appreciate so much our journey in building the Midtown store. We've gained immeasurably as a company. And are so grateful for everything that we've learned through being a part of the community, the lessons we've learned, and the people that we've met. And so we hope that will continue with our next store as well. So thank you very much. Is that right? Are you coming out? Or are you going to leave me hang here? Okay. These are pre-assigned chairs, by the way, in case you were wondering.
Joining Walter Robb on stage, please welcome the president of Clemens Food Group, Craig Edsel. U.S. Senator for the state of Michigan, Debbie Stabenow. Vice Chairman of Garden Fresh Gourmet, Dave Zilko. And moderating the discussion will be the Editorial and Public Affairs Director for WXYZ-TV 7, Chuck Stokes.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Walter for a fascinating discussion about Whole Foods and how well they've done, and particularly thanks for bringing it into the city of Detroit and our Detroit metro region. But we have some other great stories here, and so since time is always our worst enemy here, we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to start with Craig Edsel, who is to my left, and talk a little bit about your company is 120 years old. You're the first president who's not a member of the family, but you're moving into Michigan. And talk a little bit about how you've moved into Michigan and why that has been important.
We are, and thank you for that extra pressure on the non-family. Yeah, we're excited about it. Clemens Food Group is a 120-year-old family business located in southeast Pennsylvania. We produce about 2 million pork products a day, ham, bacon, hot dogs. Most people here probably wouldn't hear of Clemens Food Group, but if you've eaten bush beans, the bacon in there would be from Clemens Food Group. Campbell's potato and ham soup would be our product. Ruth Chris, it would be a customer, and a number of customers in food service, retail, and B2B.
Did you say 2 million a day?
2 million pounds a day.
Wow. Oh, that's a lot.
Yep. So, and we've been on a significant growth trend, especially in about the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And the exciting part about that is we were actually looking to expand, and Ohio was kind of in our sights because we have some producer partners in Ohio that we were talking with and actually looking at some land. But at the same time, a group of hog producers, family farmers in Michigan, got a small grant from the Department of Ag in Michigan to do a feasibility study on a pork processing plant in the state of Michigan. And we were asked to be part of that with them if we would help them with the feasibility study. And we're going to be breaking ground in 60 days. A $250 million capital project, 1,000 employees, and we'll be doubling.
All right.
So.
All right. Dave Zilko, you're in Ferndale, and you have a great story as well. And oftentimes when they talk about your particular business, I keep hearing the word food entrepreneurship. How does that fit in, and what does that mean to you?
Well, for those of you who don't know, Garden Fresh Gourmet was founded by a person who I think is one of the greatest food entrepreneurs in the United States right now, Jack Aronson, and his wife, Annette. They found themselves bankrupt in a 1,200 square foot restaurant in Ferndale, 8.5 in Woodward, 17 years ago. Jack was literally desperate, trying to pay his electric bill, pulls out a 5-gallon bucket, and in 15 minutes makes what is today Garden Fresh's artichoke garlic salsa. So I met him about 5 years after that. He was still struggling. I was struggling too. I had founded my own company a few years beforehand. Somehow got him liquored up enough to make me a partner, and along with a lot of other very talented people. These things are collaborations. Fast forward to today, so Garden Fresh is the #1 brand of fresh salsa in the United States. We're the 3rd largest hummus manufacturer in the United States. We're the #1 brand of tortilla chips and merchandise in the deli in this country. We're the 9th leading brand of dips. Employ 457 people, 200,000 square feet of manufacturing space in 4 plants all over Michigan.
All right. Senator Stabenow, you're the ranking member of the Senate Agriculture Committee.
Right.
You got a lot of attention in the media last year when you passed a new bill. How does all of this fit agriculture into the overall economy of not just Michigan, but the United States in general?
Well, Chuck, first of all, I say all the time, we don't have an economy unless we make things and grow things. And the good news is that's what we do in Michigan. And you have to then add value to that, which is what all of these great leaders are talking about. In Michigan, we're over $100 billion on the agriculture economy, and when you add up the food industry, just about 1 out of 4 people in Michigan in some way work in the food industry. And when you look at the fact that we have more diversity of crops than any other state but California, so we grow more different kinds of things. We actually grow more than we actually process. So we grow it, get shipped somewhere else, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
processed, come back, eat it. So the capacity for us to expand upon what we grow, to make, to process, to package, to create new businesses is incredible. And then when you add in this Farm Bill, because even though when I was chairing the committee in 2011, this is a predominantly rural economic development committee, but I was looking for a way to help Detroit in the process. And so the Farm Bill funds farmers markets. We have the longest continuously operating farmers market in the country, in the Eastern Market. And because of Dan and the great efforts going on there, the vision is incredible for locally sourcing, supporting local communities. People want to know where their food's coming from. There's much more emphasis on organics, local food systems, and so on. So we rewrote the Farm Bill, basically, to support the ability to have local food systems, greatly expand farmers markets, organic efforts, other kinds of things, local gardens, school gardens. Detroit Public Schools has about 100 school gardens now, thanks to Betty Wiggins and an awesome group there. So we rewrote things to really focus on what consumers are asking for, which is more local food systems. And as I was going around doing all this, you travel around the country, you always think the experts are somewhere else. So I'm traveling around the country talking to people about local food systems and urban agriculture, and they kept looking at me and saying, well, why are you talking to us? The experts are in Detroit. The experts are in Detroit. And so what you see, and what Walter was showing with all the wonderful people that were up, that he was showing, there are hundreds more people that are doing great things, from corridor sausage in Eastern Market, doing all kinds of wonderful artisan sausages, to McClure's Pickles, it's all over the Midwest, to lava cakes, chocolate lava cakes being made by Shay's Chloe, who is now actually has a contract to sell if you go from Detroit to Paris on Air France. And by the way, I love Delta. I love Delta. And we got to get this on Delta. But chocolate lava cakes made in Detroit, Eastern Market, are being sold, are actually on Air France. So there are incredible stories going on, and every one of those is a small business that will become a bigger business and hire more people. And it's the food economy that is, I think, a very important part of our future.
Yeah, and Chuck, what the senator is saying on a micro level is really happening on a macro level. Michigan has always been blessedly provincial with respect to our retailers for supporting local food products, and Mr. Robb's company is, they're not a, they're based in Austin, Texas, but they still support local food products as much as anybody. But there's a phenomenon happening in the US culture right now, food culture, in that people want local, genuine, authentic food. You see it in the farm to table movement. You see it in Whole Foods. Mr. Robb's store, we sell to them, they will not allow preservatives in the building. My favorite example of this is Budweiser beer. Their market share has fallen for 23 consecutive years. And it's because people want local craft beer. So the era of big food is over. It really is dead. People don't want industrialized, commoditized food. They want local, and what the senator's saying, local is local. You can't outsource local food production to China or Mexico. It's got to be local. And again, the era of big food is dead. Kraft just got bought by a big private equity firm. I promise you, they didn't go in there and bump their R&D budget to come up with an organic Velveeta. I mean, that's not what's going on here. Everything's got to be local, genuine, authentic. And really, Mr. Robb's company pioneered this craze.
Yeah. How much of the success of this business has to do with the amount that you all give back in your individual communities? Because I know that all of you do individual things, and that seems to be part of your core philosophy as well, right, Craig?
Yeah, yep. I can give you 3 things at our organization, and this is 120 years of history. So we have Christian principles, and one of them is we tithe. So 10% of our operating income goes back to giving in our communities that we work and live in. We have a number of managers and leaders in the company. Our expectations are that you're involved in the community, nonprofit boards. If you're young, coaching your daughter's soccer team, but those type of things we value and we encourage. And then we have a team leadership training where we bring young people in every year. It's a year course, but we give them part of the big finale is a stewardship project. Actually, it's you find out how you can better somebody in the community or some business in the community, and they choose. And it's a great team building and learning, and it's impactful, not just for that time, but ongoing. Many of them have joined nonprofit organizations that they've been involved with.
Chuck, I think this goes to the fundamental nature of capitalism, which my view, it needs to evolve, or it is evolving with the, you have Howard Schultz at Starbucks saying, what is the role and responsibility of a public company? We're a public company as well, too. But what is the obligation of a company to participate in a community? Every company's based in a community, but sometimes they forget that that's where they're situated and maybe the responsibilities. But I don't understand how a company thinks that they can continue to grow and make profits without sharing those with the rest of the stakeholders. For me, that just seems sort of fundamental that companies have got to, if we want governments in the lubricant role, create the rails and sort of for the activity, and business is going to create the innovation, the jobs, and the growth, it needs to do so in such a way that's responsible to the larger ecosystem, if you will. That's my point of view, and I think that you're seeing more businesses that are taking those sorts of responsibilities seriously, building them in at their core or in whatever way that they're doing that, and I think that really is a way forward for business to take more responsibility to contributing to its communities, with its team members or whatever area. I think that's a fundamental evolution of business at this point. You can't expect to be successful in the world and not participate in the broader society.
Yeah, and Chuck, what's going on in our community that I find so interesting is market forces I was just talking about are moving in the direction of food entrepreneurs to the extent I've never seen before. Our blessedly provincial retailers, the fact that people want fresh food. And I told you how Garden Fresh's humble origins were. I started a food company 11 years before I met Jack and Annette Aronson, on a $2,500 credit card loan. I mean, I was trying to start a business, and what does every red-blooded American entrepreneur do when you want to start a business? You don't have any money, you apply for a credit card loan. That's the good news. The bad news is I was so broke, had tons of student loans, no revenue, I got turned down for it. So I did what every red-blooded American male entrepreneur does, you go to your girlfriend. Yeah. So she signed it.
You're recommending that for everybody.
Well, people ask all the time, I did marry her, we're still married to this day. So anyway, and I don't mean to make my fellow panelists blush here, but these two, the Senator and Mr. Robb, have put in so much along with Dan Carmody. And by the way, whatever Eastern Market's paying Dan Carmody is not enough. They've gotten together and put together a community kitchen. There's another one at Forgotten Harvest with Joyce Generose, the chairman, Kirk May, Steve Eben, where food entrepreneurs of today don't have to start, a company with their girlfriend's credit card loan, don't have to found their company in an unlicensed bankrupt restaurant like Garden Fresh was. They can literally go to these spaces and they've got a licensed commercial kitchen where they can accelerate their growth. And again, with market forces moving in that direction, not every company is going to break through and become a national brand like Garden Fresh did, but enough of them are, and you mentioned McClure's Pickles. Right. They have 25,000 square foot space in the Eastern Market, employing 50, 60 people. It's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that.
And just to put another plug in, talking about opportunities now, there's going to be a rollout very soon of the new Michigan Good Food Fund, which is partnering with what we did in the Farm Bill around healthy food financing. The state is coming in, Kellogg Foundation, Fair Food Network, and Orrin, and all the wonderful work that's being done there. But to create a way to finance retail operations, we need grocery stores in neighborhoods, in underserved areas. So families are not just going to the liquor store trying to find some food. And we want them to all go to Whole Foods, but we got to get you in every neighborhood.
No,
no. But the truth is that the ability to finance processing and retail operations and so on, there's a wonderful new effort that's going to be unrolled shortly, which I want to give a shout out just to everybody that's been involved. And Chuck, I wanted to just mention one other thing, and that is we're hearing wonderful values here about giving back. I also think this is very smart business, and it's very smart for our state and our country to create opportunities for people to succeed so that you have customers. I mean, at some level, we have to lift up communities and create opportunities for jobs, for small businesses, for entrepreneurs, because that's the only way we're going to actually have a middle class in this country. It's the only way we're going to have customers and continue to grow. And so it's the right thing morally and ethically. Frankly, I think it's the right thing from a business standpoint if we actually want to grow the community.
As we talk about trying to revitalize our cities all across America, what do you all see as the future? What trends do you see perhaps coming down the line that have not perhaps even been written about?
You know, it's what we've been talking about, food entrepreneurialism, and the fact that market forces are moving in this direction. And again, Garden Fresh is the largest employer in Ferndale by far. And the nice thing about the food economy is that people always have to eat. I mean, to be honest with you, we thrived during the recession. You know, people stopped going to Disney World for a week. They stopped going out to restaurants. It never got so bad where they didn't keep buying chips and salsa and treat themselves to something on a Friday night. So to build on what the center is saying, I love how sustainable the food economy is, how important it can be to communities, and really to help build up the middle class.
Yeah, one thing is the vertical farming. So, for example, in Chicago, there's a company called Farmed Here, which is farming inside buildings. And as they talk about the urban communities becoming more self-reliant on the food, that's one thing that's happening. We're, they're taking over old buildings and farming. So that's one thing that's happening. There's also, we have a store in Brooklyn, New York, where we have a 25,000 square foot greenhouse in the store that's raising 60,000 boxes of produce a year within the store. Hydroponically. So there's a lot of innovation that's happening in agriculture. We should say, and I think it would be fair to say that, look, conventional agriculture is doing very well too. If you look at the exports around the world, it's driving a lot of the success of the economy to the extent that it's moving. But this is equally vibrant and equally deserving of attention and resources. I think that's sort of the point, is that this is worth investing in, whether it's creating the legislation that enables some of this to happen, supporting the entrepreneurs in whatever way that you do for them to grow their businesses. This is a vibrant, active part of the economy right now.
Craig, as you extended your venture into Coldwater, Michigan, were there some key things that the state of Michigan and maybe even some organizations outside of Michigan did to help make that road a lot easier so that down the line, hopefully it will have a major impact on the state?
Absolutely. So one of Clemens Food Group, we call our selling method solution selling, bringing solutions to problems, or to the needs of our customers. And one thing that the state did is really looked at, we're not skilled at getting permits and building. We know how to produce product. We know how to raise animals healthy and in proactive manner, and we know how to make and sell great pork products. But we don't know about building products. We don't know about permitting. We don't know. And they stepped in and really looked at. I know the previous group here talked about talent. Mm-hmm. They came in and said, "Okay, we got the MEDC. We'll help you with skills." And there's a community college in that town, and they're putting in a skills and a trade organization that's partnering with them through a grant to create more skills opportunities for employees that will support our venture. Also, Michigan Works, from a recruiting standpoint, has stepped in and said, "We'll help you recruit. We'll show you how to do it. We know the area. We know Coldwater, and we'll come in and step in and do that." And then even the Department of Air Quality in the Michigan community here has stepped in and said, "We'll help you with the permitting." And they gave us a timeline that we didn't think was feasible, that they would step through the federal permitting process, and they beat it. They beat it. We're ready to break ground in 60 days, and we didn't think we'd be anywhere near that. So a lot of things.
Yeah. What's next? Nothing. Moving into another state?
Well, moving to another state, and this is a pork plant. But we'll be. What's next is moving into further value-added pork products in the state. So we bought in this area 500 acres to be able to expand that footprint. And the beauty of it too is it took a while to develop. it was important that because of the values and some of the things that this group has talked about, that we needed producer partners that had a common mindset. And there were some individuals that we said, you know what, it's not going to work for you. This isn't connecting to where you want to be. But it took some time to bring a collective group of family farmers in Michigan, but also Ohio and Indiana, to come in with a common vision in regards to producing the kind of product that we're looking to.
Senator, in Washington, you oftentimes have to work in a very partisan environment. But is there something about agriculture that cuts through Democrat, Republican politics, independence, that there's something we can learn that we can apply to other areas?
Well, I think even though it was difficult and long to get the Farm Bill done, the reality is that we do understand as a country that this is a basic, and we all eat. Obviously, we all care about our food. The differences in agriculture relates to different regions and what you grow, and sort of putting all that together. People have different interests around agriculture. But I think what was important about the effort that we put together was that everybody wanted to get it done. If you have the will to get it done, if you know it's important, you can do something. And I have to say that no other business has to get up in the morning and check the weather to determine what's going to happen in terms of their business. This is the riskiest business in the world. We have the most productive farmers and ranchers in the world. We are, in fact, feeding the world, and the growth and innovation in technology is amazing. And so there's room for everyone. I mean, we need American farmers to be feeding the world. We also have a great opportunity for local foods and expanding opportunities for our local farmers, and again, entrepreneurs. I mean, I think for me, what was really important in this particular Farm Bill, as we made some paradigm shifts, was to actually look at ways to add value through local food hubs and local systems so that we could create more local businesses. And that's what Eastern Market is doing. I mean, we're talking about business after business after business of people who have an idea, have a product. You know, McClure's Pickle started with Grandma's pickle recipe, you know, and look what they're doing now. And so there are so many entrepreneurs, if they have the financing, the support, commercial kitchen, that will help them get started without spending $100,000 to put their own kitchen together. That's the importance of the commercial kitchen. And then to have people, frankly, like people here, and I want to just say, in terms of Walter and Whole Foods, making a commitment to put local food products in the stores. And you know, I can't say enough about what Walter and Whole Foods has done to really help us move this economic engine forward. So thank you.
Yeah, and with respect to having $100,000 to put in business, my girlfriend at the time did not have $100,000. So details. You know, Chuck, I think what excites me the most about what's happening is I don't see this trend reversing itself. This trend of people wanting fresh, all natural, wholesome, genuine, locally made food products. I mean, anybody who's had a Bell's beer out of Kalamazoo, can you imagine going back to drinking Budweiser?
I know.
It's just not going to happen. I mean, this country has really crossed the Rubicon, and so everything that we've talked about here, I just see continuing, and I really do believe that Michigan is positioning itself beautifully as a community to foster an entrepreneurial food network. And again, every now and then somebody's going to break through, and before you know, you're the largest employer in your community.
I just have to say one thing on Bell's beer. They were getting their hops from Germany. They went to a local farmer outside Kalamazoo and said, you know, we don't have to go all the way to Germany. Can't you grow hops here? They started hops farms, and I went to, in Grand Rapids a few weeks ago, the first national hops farm conference in Michigan. And so it's now, they're growing hops everywhere for beer. So it's amazing.
I think you rankled a couple of Bud Time people out there, though.
We got 50 seconds left. Walter, Robb, we start with you, we'll end with you. The next step for Whole Foods.
You know, the next step is, 2015 represents, I think, a watershed moment for this conversation about food in this country all the years. And I think, just like the state itself is that it poises this opportunity post the grand bargain, for us and for other companies is to take full advantage of the fact that people are really interested in food now. And so we're just going to go full speed ahead. We're going to open a store a week. continue to grow the company, and there's many other companies that are growing very nicely, and I think we're going to continue to promote fresh, healthy food in this country and all the health that it brings.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Craig Edsel, Walter Robb, Senator Debbie Stabenow, and Dave Zilko, thank you so much for joining us at the Grand Hotel, and thank you to all of you.